Hello, this is the summary of my second term paper. Story is a powerful mode of communication and an important way of understanding the world. Mars Hill uses stories in its curriculum because they can speak more powerfully than other forms of communication, and they have been used by the cultures we study to pass down their history and values. Story is also important because it is a reflection of God's own narrative of history and reinforces our perception of our lives as part of that story. In a time when people do not see their lives in the context of a story, it is imperative to remember that it does have real importance. Stories are powerful because they arouse sympathy, allowing the readers or listeners to experience something personally. A good example of power in stories is A Tale of Two Cities, which allows the reader to recoil at the atrocities of the revolution and be passionately moved by the hero's contrasting act of sacrifice, deep feelings which an expository essay could not evoke. Stories are important because they are part of life. Reading stories reinforces an understanding of the lives of people the way they really are. That is, as stories taking place in God's grand narrative. In today's culture, people see their lives as insignificant portions of a meaningless succession of events. That is not true. All people's lives are stories within a story, which everyone is called to play a part in. If people exist within God's story, then they have a part to play in it. By knowing that story, people have context to live their lives in. That is part of the goal of Mars Hill, to show students that their lives are part of God's narrative, to show them where they are in that story, and to prepare them for the part that they play in it. I say this today in hope that the students will realize the power and importance of story during their time at Mars Hill. If those students will realize their own lives as part of God's great story, then perhaps they will feel called to bring stories back to our culture. Perhaps they will tell stories that will pierce the hearts of people and lead them to realize the fact that they are part of something grand, part of the story God is telling through history.